Welcome to the WCS America Premier League, round of 32, Group C. Before we jump into talking about the matchup we have at hand, let me remind you guys, if you need any extra apparel or if you're just looking for a great Mother's Day gift, go ahead and check out MLGProShop.com. There's a lot of different options there, and of course one of them is that very nice looking Nike track jacket.
Very smooth, Nick. Like, hey mom, I love you so much. Here's an MLG mousepad. But son, I haven't used the PC in like forever. I only use a typewriter. It's like, no mom, you get a mouse too.
There you go. You can hook a mouse to a typewriter. You just gotta figure out.
I'm gonna actually do this. I was like, mom, I know I've been in the US for a while and I miss you. Here's a mousepad. He's gonna be like, what?
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe your mom is the gamer type.
Oh, she does watch. She actually said she might stay up to watch today, but if not, she will gonna watch the rebroadcast.
Nice.
She's getting into it. She still has no idea what she's watching. She just watches me and comments on my clothes.
Well,
and often complains about my tie. And then I say, Mom, it wasn't me.
Always good to have other people to blame. Of course, a quick recap of what we've seen so far today. First match, we saw Idra versus Polt. And the first game was very exciting with a little anticlimactic ending, and of course game 2 was a little bit quick as well. So Polt was able to take that series 2-0. Then we saw Goswser take out Revival 2-1. So our winner's match is coming up is going to be Polt versus Goswser. The winner of that match is going to advance to the round of 16, and of course the loser is going to drop down and await the winner of the Idra versus Revival match.
You know what's cool as well about Idra against Revival is not only they are both playing for Evil Geniuses right now, is that when Idra won the Inter Extreme Masters Global Challenge in Guangzhou, they actually played against each other in the quarterfinal, which I believe Idra was able to win 3-1 back then, and that was the only time that weekend that Idra smiled. Like, no joke. Like, wow. After the semi-finals, he wasn't very happy because he felt Puma didn't play good.
Yeah.
In the final, he beat Elfie, and he wasn't very happy with the fact that Elfie was in the final. But when he beat Revival, he smiled. And he said, like, yeah, because I actually respect Revival, and that was a good win.
Probably because he was a Zerg player.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a really cool match as well. Might see Greg smile.
We might. Of course, before we get there, we have our winners match. Goswser versus Polt. Let's see if the players are ready. Of course, whoever wins this is going to advance to the next stage of the Premier League and have a nice weight lifted off their shoulders, not having to be in that sudden death mode in that final match.
Polt just really looks like one of the big guns in this tournament, man. Like the way that he played, of course, basically in the last 2 months, but even in that second game against Idra, it just looked so smooth. The way he defended that Roach Bane attack, it kind of looked effortless, you know? It's like, well, I defend this like all day long on ladder. It's like, that's what I do, man. You see my stats? That's why I was 38-0 against Zerg, whatever it was. Cloud Kingdom is going to be our first map. It's really hard to predict the openings from Polt, because Polt does mix it up quite a bit. In general, I would say that Cloud Kingdom is not one of those maps that he goes hedge first on. Command Center first. But it is of course always possible, but majority of the time he opens up here with at least 2 Reapers.
So Polt, the guy we're talking about, spawned at the top right of Cloud Kingdom as the blue Terran. And his opponent, Goswser, in the bottom left as the red Zerg.
Maybe America's new hope.
He very well could, but you know, we've seen a couple Americans really step it up in this WCS tournament. I mean,
yeah, like Polt.
Yeah.
Stefano over in Europe. Like, he decided to play in Europe instead. I don't know why Stefano would do that.
Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe just like to spread the freedom everywhere.
That's right. That's right. We like to put it out there.
Yeah, like the plant freedom over here. WCS Europe needed some freedom.
They do. They do. Send some freedom representatives out there to do very well.
It seems like indeed Polt is not going to go for Command Center first. He's going to drop the Rex, and then we'll see the Refinery go down pretty quick as well. I'm very curious to see what kind of style we're going to see Goswser use. Eventually, I'm sure that he would love to just go up to a very Link Baneling centric heavy style, get very good upgrades out, and then eventually somehow progress through the phase of the game where he has money and the time to make Ultralisk. But of course, it's going to be very hard to survive certain mid-game phases against Polt if Polt is going to be very aggressive with Marines and Widow Mines. Something that Polt doesn't do very often, at least in the games I saw, is like Hellbat drops. It's like I rarely see him do it.
He's not really big on Hellbats. It's kind of interesting. He loves his Widow Mines.
Yeah, no, he truly does. Like, as you said, like in the previous game, he's making like 5-6 at a time.
Just can't get enough of them, and of course, those are very, very scary units. There's plenty of Zergs who have complained about the Widow Mines. The Zerg has to micro very diligently. All it takes is 1 or 2 missed micros, and if you lose a clump of banelings, that can absolutely turn the game around.
But the funny thing is that like so many people complain about the Hellbat as well, and Polt is just like, you know, I'm actually fine with my playstyle in general. Curious to see how he's going to follow it. I do expect him to just make 2 Reapers. After that, just go up to those 6 Hellions as he lost to do, just to get some map control out, be safe against everything, then get 1 Marauder, and then drop to 2 E-base. This is kind of how he plays, and if you analyze it, it's just so safe overall. First, the Reapers are going to give him a lot of information. Then the Hellions, if he does, are going to give him a lot of information. Then he gets some Marauders, so he's safe against Roaches. It's just like step by step by step, but he's kind of always safe. It's a really intelligent opening.
It really is. That's I really love the Reaper as far as just with its extra movement speed and the regeneration ability it has. You can run in their scout, take some damage, run away, and just keep repeating that process. It's not a one-time scout. It's not, you know, once you invest into 1 or 2 Reapers, the ability to continually scout for the next, like, basically 6-7 minutes of the game is just such a powerful asset.
Yeah, and the cool thing is as well that like it creates some weird mid-game moments. If you have both Reapers still alive as well, then you're gonna have 2 Reapers and 6 Hellions, and that can get really annoying for a Zerg, and you might actually force him to make way more Roaches than he would like to do. So for Goswser is of course just relying on Queens. He is researching speed already, but he doesn't want to make too many links early on. He's like, I think I'll be fine for now. With the 2 sets of links that he made, I believe. Yeah.
Just using those to try to guard the high ground to make sure those Reapers can't jump up there. The Queen guards the front entryway.
Bolt's gonna play this very economic once more, as you see that 3rd command center going down in the main base. The factory is gonna switch up with this barracks anytime soon. 2 Reapers gonna jump into the main game, or main base. Gonna be a little bit more annoying, but other than picking off a couple of slow links, nothing groundbreaking is happening.
What I'm really curious to see is if Goswser goes for one of those massive frontal roach baiting attacks. That's something that's been very popular lately. We saw Suppa use it. We even saw Idra use it. It didn't work out so well for him against Polt.
I do think that Idra didn't put his soul into it though.
That's true. Idra putting soul into an all-in build is very unusual.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't even feel right for Idra doing it. It's just like, I don't know why my hands are doing this.
It's just being forced upon me.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
35 drones right now against 24 SCVs, but of course it doesn't mean all that much. Here we do see once more this 1 Marauder being produced by Polt, which I think is so cool, man. It's so smart. Ooh, did he lose a Hellion? No, right now he didn't. He's actually going to be able to pick off these links in the middle of the map as well. Takes a little bit of damage on one of these Hellions. Could even send it back to repair, but right now all he does is just he wants to keep track on the map, wants to make sure nothing weird is happening, doesn't need any additional bunkers. We see a Roach One going down for Goswser, but that might just be a defensive Roach One.
There's 3 Overlords in production though and no units, so I think we're definitely going to see probably a 10 to 12 Roach push out. But there's no baiting nest behind it, so this isn't going to be like the hardcore crazy all-in we saw Idra use in Game 2. This is going to be sending 10 to 12 Roaches, and he definitely has to get some damage done. But behind this, he's probably going to be droning up, most likely.
He completely stopped droning after 35. He is going to be the Bailing Nest as well, so it is going to be Roaches and perhaps a couple of Bailings in the mix as well. But Polt has 1 Marauder already. He's having 6 Hellions right now, and I think he will scout it in time. I think it is so hard to pull this one off, but 13 Roaches is an extremely high amount of Roaches. That is not something that 1 Marauder keeps you safe from. But we also see a Siege Tank in production right now. That's interesting.
Oh, the Siege Tank is such an effective tool against the Roach Baiting attack because you can just focus down those Baitings. It's not like the Widow Mines where you can try to force your detonations on other units, and Goswser has got to get a lot of damage done. He's got to hit before that Siege Tank gets in a good position.
Polt needs to buy time for himself. He knows it. He needs that Siege Tank on the high ground. He's going to get a Supply Depot wall over here. The Hellion is kind of trapped right now. Going to try to get some shots off on those Banelings like he did in the previous game. What he does, of course, do with that as well is he's forcing the Roaches back. So the Supply Depots take a little less damage. First Siege Tank is out and in production. But I still think he needs a little more than just that.
He does. He's trying to keep the depots up. The depots go down. Goswser really intelligently using some Roaches to keep those Hellions off his Banelings.
Oh, the Marauder is so low on HP. The Marauder is going to fall, so that 1 Siege Tank is going to be the only thing really good against the Roaches right now. We do have an additional Marauder, and it actually seems like Polt is going to be quite fine, man. Oh, that Marauder. Man, those Marines are some greedy Marines. Well, actually 2 Reapers. Like, Reapers, you're useless. Go scout, kill a drone or something. Let the Marauder sit in the bunker, man. He's way more important.
There's even an SCV in the bunker, so interesting connection.
This Marauder is really getting no love.
1 tank on low ground, that's going to go down, but a tank on the high ground doing so much damage.
Polt's opening is just so good. He scouts everything. First with the Reapers, then with the Hellions. Having that one Marauder early on helps a little bit. And normally he wouldn't produce Siege Tanks. Normally he would go for Widow Mines. But he's just like, hey, that's an insane amount of roaches. And probably Siege Tank is probably going to be a lot better. And yeah, you're pointing it out as well. 18 kills on this bad boy.
A very effective Siege Tank, and he just calmly, you know, double E-baids. He's like, okay, that didn't work for you. I'm not going to get too panicked. You know, I'm going to stabilize my defense. Now just play my normal game, and he's going to be playing it from a nice advantage. I mean, Goswser is definitely behind in economy. He's got a tiny worker lead, and he's trying to extend it now with all these workers being built. But, I mean, it's versus triple orbital and an opponent who's already built all their critical infrastructure.
Not just that, exactly. There is infrastructure, there is stack for Polt, there is nothing for Goswser. He's just going up to lay attack right now. Double Eva Chamber is working. He's going to get both upgrades for the Zerglings out there eventually. These two Hellions and Reaper. It used to be Reapers, not just one Reaper. Trying to be a little bit annoying. Polt knows what's going on. It's just the real scary moment is going to be when the, let's say, 2 to 4 medevacs are out on the map. Then the Marine count is going to be pretty high. We might see a couple of Marauders in the mix. It's just going to be extremely hard for Goswser to defend, and he's going to need some sick bailing connections. But yeah, once more against someone like Polt. If a player like Polt is ahead, and this is something that I really thought was interesting, what you pointed out yesterday, if someone like Polt is ahead in TVZ against like almost any non-top super Korean, he's almost always going to win.
Yeah, he's not going to step up his macro. And the one thing about Polt's style that makes him so consistent in this matchup is that he does take the 4th base a little faster than some of the world-class Terrans do. He doesn't rely quite as much on that heavy 3-base pressure. He'll just put on a good amount of pressure, but he'll be continually expanding behind it as well.
Because he's just relying on his macro late game, he's relying on his mechanics, and of course his micro as well. Polt knows that, like, oh, okay, you can get quite a few bailings out there. Eventually I will be fine. I will be able to put my mines in a good position. In this game he might even bring out that tank as well. Even though I'm sure that Polt is pretty confused as well. He's like, Siege Tank, it's been a while. Welcome back, my precious.
You know, I really like that Goswser is going for the Infestation Pit. Because I think if you're behind in the game, going for the spellcaster units is always a great way to make a comeback. Because if you land a couple like massive fungal growths, all of a sudden you get right back in the game.
That is certainly true. Also because Polt might not actually expect Infestors. Certainly not against such a low economy player, or at least low economy opening from Goswser, because it was obvious that he invested quite a bit in all those bailings and in all those roaches, that he couldn't have had 55 drones behind that. And of course he didn't have either.
Oh, this is the scary part for Goswser. Polt microing excellently.
Marauder taking some bailings for the team there. It's kind of like the Carbolt animation Marauder. He just like takes it all up and then he fell. Matter of fact, could have saved that Marauder. That would have been really cool.
It could have. You know, they had space.
Yeah, certainly the other one, man.
The one medevac actually refused to pick up a single unit. The other one in the one, he's like, no, you guys are going to slow me down. I want to make sure I have 0 weight.
Flying solo today, boys. I'm sorry. Enjoying the view. Don't want to have to worry about precious cargo. A couple of Marines sprinting away, getting a nice position, of course, on this ramp as well, making it oh so hard for Roaches and Ling to engage. This was kind of that push. There are 5 Infestors on the way, and as we, I really don't think that Polt is expecting Infestors in this phase. Did he ever scout the Infestation Pit?
I don't think he's seen it yet, and this is what you're talking about, the 4 medevac pressure. This can be so scary if the Terran
so many bailings as well, God.
Oh, 1 fungal with the good, he scans, he sees Infestors and the bailings.
1 fungal kind of whiffs. Bailings do connect with a couple of Widow Mines, but that cannot be what you're hoping for. You want to take out all those Marines. Armor Supply shows us 87 against 91. Or, I mean, 95 against 86 right now. This is still reasonably close.
I really like how Gucci is not trying to take a 4th mistake going to Hive. Great spread by Polt, but there's too many Zerglings.
Most of the units were actually on the other side of the map for Polt, so Goswser survives this phase of the game pretty well. He doesn't have to worry about any drops either, as nothing like that is going on for now. Upgrade-wise, he's doing pretty damn good, dropping the Ultralisk Cavern. I am very surprised that Goswser managed to get up to the economy that he actually did.
Yeah, it was a very impressive thing, and it was a couple intelligent decisions, I think. He said, you know what? If I'm behind, I'm not going to have a huge army. I'm not going to try to take that 4th hatchery that fast, because I can't spread my army around to cover 4 bases. I'm just going to focus on saying, okay, you can be ahead in economy, equal bases, and you'll have the mules. But I'll just try to tech up and get the very cost-efficient combination of the Infestors and the Ultralists.
Yeah, I think if Polt really wanted to commit to something there, he should have just like kind of gone for it immediately and tried to rely on his splits, rely on his micro, because like the additional minute that he kind of stalled next to that third base gave Goswser so much time. Like the infestors popped, all the banelings morphed, it just made defending so much easier. While we do have the first drop going on right now in the natural expand, Goswser is gonna lose a handful of drones.
He's not pulling them. He's not reacting at all.
Because he's actually gonna try to engage, so that means that that drop will stay active for a little while. But of course, more interested to see what happens in the middle of the map, but Polt is like, hey, okay, just let this go on. Meanwhile, my drop is killing everything.
Goswser finally pulled the drones. If he can convincingly beat the army, though, it may be okay that he took so much of an economic hit.
Well, he is winning this battle, but he has nothing to really kill off these medevacts, and at the end of the day, all that he's killing right now are a handful of Marines. The Marines even took out the Roach Warren, and now the Baning Nest is taking quite some damage as well. It will survive, but I think that for the first time, well, 10 drones went down. That's a reasonable amount. It
wasn't as bad as it could have been, especially because the Roach Warren, Goswser probably doesn't care as much about. If they killed one of the Evo chambers.
Yeah, that would have been massive.
Yeah, it would have been a very, very huge blow. So, you know, Polt being a little distracted, of course, by focusing his micro on the main battle as well, so not getting quite as much as he potentially could have gone with that drop. And, you know, Polt does have a supply lead, and he does have a small economic advantage, but all these big upgrades, 3-3 and Ultras Chidness plating are all coming up, and that can give Goswser a good chance to take a big win.
Polt trying to be as annoying as possible with this one drop that was still remaining while putting himself in a really good position over here. There are like 14 Widow Mines or something, 12 Widow Mines in this push. The Marine count is not extremely high, so as soon as these Ultras spawn, I actually think Goswser should be able to keep this base alive. There are really not that many Marines and Marauders in this little push.
Polt going very, very mine heavy with the Overseer there to spot the ball. Overseer's almost dead. It does fall, but there's a backup. The mines are being taken out, but they're taking a good amount of the Zerg out as well.
Definitely true. A lot of Banelings did die, but these Ultras are not going to die against these remaining. Fungal does land. It would be really nice if he picks up 5 medevacs. That's really what he kind of needs.
Oh, he needs 2 more.
He doesn't want to use all the energy. I can understand that.
It'll take 3 more, I think, to kill all those medevacs, so.
Still, like, eventually it's going to be quite a problem that these medevacs just never take any real damage. Medevac count was like up to 10 or 12, and Polt is taking fights without being maxed out, but as soon as he's going to be maxed out, that's going to be quite an issue.
It really will be. Polt also continues to expand behind his heading. He basically has one SCV that constantly builds orbitals throughout the game. That's what I really like about his style. You know, he doesn't need to kill the 4th base like some Terrans do when they put on this type of pressure, because he's always expanding, you know, behind it as well. In fact, adding in the double starports, you're really getting ready for that late game transition.
Seems like Goswser wants to make something happen once more. There are quite a few Widow Mines, but he has a scary army. The Ultralisk kind of... Oh, those Widow Mines actually not rooted. Wow.
Oh, mistake from Polt there.
Maybe perhaps with nice fungal on all those bio units, that would be massive for Goswser. Well, we have a drop going on in the main base as well. It's a pretty big drop. So you could say Goswser just tried to make something happen with your army.
He is. He's gonna go for the 4th and back away. It looks like his main army, he's going to go back and defend this drop. Meanwhile, yeah, he's going to pull his whole main army back.
And actually the Hive is going to take a lot of damage as well. Or maybe the Infestation Pit or the Ultralisk Cavern. All the precious stack is over here. The Infestation Pit will fall and the Ultralisk Cavern is going to fall as well. Super, super successful drop here by Polt.
Oh, the Infestors! 2 Infestors being picked off. The other one just barely getting away. Goswser not paying attention there and maybe missing some great fungal opportunities.
Wow, Polt is just all over the place right now. He's going to pick up that hatchery as well. He will lose a couple of bio units in the process, but instead he's going to drop the main base again as well. Polt is just all over the place right now. You can see that Goswser is struggling to keep up.
He really is. You know, Goswser doesn't quite have the economy or the army to really split up in multiple directions and build any supplemental stack defense or anti-drop unit squads. One Ultras tries to defend, but it is going to be taken out.
So Goswser is instead going to say, to hell with it, here we go. He's going to try to take out this port base instead. There are quite a few SCVs repairing it as well. Bailey's getting reasonable connects off so far, but he just doesn't have any economy behind this.
He really doesn't. If he can kill a planetary back away and maybe keep denying a 4th base from Polt, he could have a chance to get back in the game. He is going to defend this drop before he loses his Hive. He does have a very scary army.
He does, but the biggest problem is he lost the Hive and the Ultralisk Cavern.
Or he kept the Hive, the Infestation Pit. Yeah.
He's making the Infestation Pit right now, so that means he will be able to rebuild some Infestors soon. Of course, taking out that 4th base of Polt is massive, and Polt is also not extremely rich. He doesn't have a huge bank behind this, but he is close to being maxed out. Ooh, small mistake here by Polt. Of course, no one plays a flawless game. So far it's been almost close to flawless though from Polt. Still has a lot of Widow Mines, and of course if the Ultralisk count goes down, but there are 9 on the map right now, and I have a hard time imagining 9 Ultras dying anytime soon.
It's really going to come down to if Goswser can deny that 4th again from Polt, because right now Goswser is kind of reeling for all of the damage he's taken, and Polt has so many command centers. Goswser killing the planetary is a nice win, but Polt just moves another command center down there. Unless Goswser can really continually deny that expansion, Polt can just keep dropping mules every time Goswser backs away.
Yeah, Polt right now splitting up his forces as well. He has a lot of units on the right side of the map, which is about to engage his army over here. Oh my god, Fungus could have been so massive. Widowmine's gonna drill in the ground immediately. Oh, getting big connections off. A lot of banelings going up over there. While once more we're gonna see a drop in the main base / natural.
Wow, Polt just multitasking absolutely everywhere here. Takes out the Bane Nest. Speedies are gonna defend this drop, but he's already taken out the bottom right base, and he's just going to lift up and get away as soon as he feels he can't trade efficiently anymore.
Polt is playing so extremely well right now. Actually, it seems like these are not enough Zerglings to take out everything. The drones are
good.
Medevacs are really good. They're going to stim down to the low ground. Might be able to pick up the infestation pit once more. Instead, we do have a big battle here again. Infest is a little bit out of position. I mean, Goswser still has these ultras to rely on, but Polt is just slowly but steady picking him apart.
He really is. You know, Goswser is very heavily committed to killing his 4th base yet again. But Polt, such a great concave, but some really big fungals go down.
Yeah, the fungals are massive, but I'm afraid it's just not going to be enough. Polt still has a lot of money behind this as well. Goswser will call GG, and Polt takes a very exciting game number 1 on Cloud King.
That was just an absolutely spectacular demonstration of insanely high-level TVZ there. I mean, Goswser played a very well game, I felt.
I really felt that, like, after the original push kind of failed, it's like, okay, this is one of the situations where you're playing WCS, so you don't want to give up early. Well, most people don't want to give up early. But he knows that he's so far behind. Certainly against play like Polt is going to be very hard to come back. But he made a real game out of it, man. Like, he got his upgrades going, he went up to 72 drones, kept 3 bases alive, and he just played very well for a long amount. Or a certain amount in this game, and it was impressive.
It was very impressive. I mean, after this attack was held convincing, the high ground siege tank just racking up kill after kill after kill. You know, so many Zergs would have just left out. The Goswser, if he was playing a lesser Terran, he would have won that game.
Yeah, because at a certain moment it started looking really good. He had 3 upgrades going, he had the hive. I guess just what also like is all because of the start of the game is that he never had that insane economy to really invest in static defenses. Like, he never was in a position where he's like, hey, I can use the neck 10 drones to morph into a couple of spores and spines and make my life a lot easier to defend against drops. Like, he was just never in that position. And then late game is just like, okay, it's kind of spiraling out of control right now.
Yeah.
When Polt is close to maxing out, just drops all over the place.
Polt's drop play, absolutely amazing. If he's ahead, he's just going to keep leveraging it to really just hit you everywhere where you can't afford to defend. So absolutely amazing drop play. I think he killed 3 infestation pits and like 2 Ultralisk caverns throughout this game. And I mean, that's what happens. If you're behind a Zerg, you have to cut a corner somewhere. And Goswser chose to cut the stack defense, which isn't necessarily a wrong approach.
Not at all. He just never had the economy to invest into that. Actually, something I missed early on is like while he lost the first Ultralisk cavern, he remade it immediately in the natural. So even when he lost the hive, it wasn't the end of the world yet, because he could potentially still make more Ultras. But Polt is like, nah, I'm never going to give you the money to do so.
Great play by Polt. Of course, that was game number 1 in this best of 3. Game number 2 will be coming up after a short break.